tremendous looking trophy.
Hello, welcome to Platinum Station, number one PlayStation podcast in the Oceania's late because the state of play. My name's Dylan Blight, and joining me, as always, Ashley Hobley.
Hey Dylan, excited to be here and excited that Kojima's a huge Ken fan. Big fan of Beach.
He's Ken enough for all of us.
Yep.
That's right. Also here, Ken enough for all of us, Buddy Watson.
I actually thought he was more of like a fan of like the Black Eyed Peas, like Sex on the Beach and stuff, you know, things to say lovers do. No?
He probably is. The weirdest thing about Kojima is he'll like tweet some shit. He'll be like, yeah, listeners are Bring Me the Horizon. And next day he'll be like, I love this new Katy Perry album.
My favorite is when he does it to movies, like, watching so-and-so, and then it'd be like some massive, you know, thread review of like some auteur indie thing. And then it's like, now watching...
I watched The Avengers.
Yeah. and then there's no follow-up tweet. Yeah. He did that for Saltburn actually as well. It's like, I watched Saltburn. That's it.
Yeah. I saw the bath scene. That was beach enough for me. So yes, we are here to talk about the state of play. The first state of play PlayStation is delivered for 2024. Lot of Asia, I guess, within this. That's, I guess, the converging theme throughout this one. All rounding out with Death Stranding 2 at the end of it with Kojima, which, of course, is the big thing, but we'll get to that. Ash, what did you think of the first state of play for the year?
Yeah, very solid. Like, we obviously got updates on, like, some of the things that we... Well, I think the sale was kind of pulled out of it a little bit. Like, everything that showed up in this was rumored or, like, leaked beforehand, like, that was going to be in there. So I don't think there was like any massive surprises other than like Kojima saying he's going to make a game. I think, but yeah, really solid. Like lots of good stuff there. Obviously, like the Death Stranding 2 trailer was fantastic. Yeah, just a very solid, effort. No massive surprises, no massive first party titles. Which I thought was maybe a bit of a surprise, but good way to start the year and then also confirm, another state of play in like a week.
It's only Final Fantasy one, so it's not really.
But still
I hate when they do those. They're like, there's a state of play coming.
It's a focused one.
It's a focused one. Like, it's not really a state of play. Just call it like a deep dive or something. Like, it's just fuck off. Buddy, what do you make of the full
I actually like when they do that, because I was fully expecting Final Fantasy to kind of appear in here, I was like, oh great, that's the 5 or 10 minutes I'll zone out, and it's a 40-minute state of play, and okay, there goes 10 minutes of stuff I don't care about, so now it's a 30-minute state of play that I'm kind of reviewing for myself personally. So I kind of like when they do that and not kind of jumble it all together, and the fans that only want to see that are not kind of suck it into watching everything else and then complaining, and maybe like as far as like a messaging point of view, it kind of appears better for PlayStation. So from a messaging thing, I thought it was quite good. There's a lot of stuff in there that personally I'm not really interested in. The Helldivers 2 opening and like the chaos of that was pretty fun and kind of made me a little bit more interested in that. But then I think there was enough like towards the end with all that Kojima stuff and just how batshit crazy all of that stuff was, that kind of like, for me, it was like, yeah, that's a win. If I got one thing out of that, and that was from Death Stranding 2, which was my game of the generation from the PS4 era, then yeah, that's enough for me. So
I'm mid on it. There's a lot of stuff in here I like. However, I'm still very much like, I don't know what the fuck PlayStation has planned for this year. Like and let's go, not to jump straight to it, but Death Stranding's next year. So like there's still in my ever search of what is PlayStation giving me this year, I currently go, like, they had Rise of the Ronin in here. Still not a PlayStation exclusive. Like, I don't know what, I still have no idea coming off this what PlayStation is playing for like the next 6 months. I'm like, what the fuck are they releasing?
Helldivers.
But then there's enough third-party exclusives that they kind of we don't really need to know what the PlayStation studios are doing. Like, people are so obsessed with the PlayStation studios. What are they doing? It's like, as long as you're still getting big tentpole games, like there's still enough reason to own a PlayStation for the people that kind of look into the war of like, well, they don't have reason to buy a PlayStation 5. Well, you do, because all the stuff they just showed us, or the majority of it, is only on PlayStation, even though they're third party or not. So as far as that perspective, I don't really understand where that kind of comes from. as like an online
I'll tell you
kind
where
of
it comes
voice or
from
messaging?
For me, it's solely from having to do this podcast. like if I was regular Joe Schmo gamer, whatever. Like as long as I'm getting games, I don't really care. But it's that whenever I say that, and on this show, it's totally from a pundit side of, all right, I'm doing a PlayStation focused thing week in, week out. I don't know what the fuck you're doing for me. I need shit. Like I need shit as a pundit, for this niche company,
yeah, so this podcast is turning you into a bitter old man, is what I'm hearing.
I'm turning into a bitter old man because of life. It's nothing to do with this podcast.
I mean, this podcast isn't helping as well.
So pretty much going to turn into like every Xbox podcast. Great. But like for me, I kind of, this is how I look at it. I get relieved when I see something like this, and there's like not every single game that I want to play, and they're big AAA games that are third party I'm not really interested in. Like for me, that's a relief of like, oh wow, you've just opened up my ear. I have so many other hobbies outside of gaming and things that I do, and so many stuff in my backlog and smaller indie games that I prefer to play. So it's a big sigh of relief for me. Like I only need
Thank God I don't need to spend all this money on
Thank
games.
God I don't have to play these video games. Thank God I continue playing Factions. Drink. But like, I don't know, like if gaming is your only hobby, and maybe you're only a PlayStation 5 owner, you still have these third parties. Like, but if you own it just for like your Naughty Dog, your God of War, and those kind of Spider-Man, then maybe you are disappointed. But I don't know. I think you gotta maybe diversify your gaming palette a bit.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know why I come in here and complain. I'm just going to play the indie games.
Yeah, none of these games you want, you're going to play it. So what difference does it make?
I started playing Little Guardsman last night. What am I talking about? I'm stamping shit. That's where I'm at with my life. Oh, that's a cute little game. I'll tell you a little about it later. All right, let's get into the show. So it starts with Helldivers 2. It's coming out February 8th. By the way, reading off well played shout outs. Their article.
Nice people.
Really nice people. Yeah, I'm really sure. Yeah, good. Yeah, nice people. They did the article in the correct order, which is listing them in the order they're shown in the thing, not putting Death Stranding at the top for the SEO. Helldivers 2. So this is a report for duty trailer. I love when they give names like that shit. I think Helldivers looks really cool. I'm keen to play it. I hope we all are keen to dive into it. Obviously, it's very different to the first game, but I think the third person action looks really cool. I think the Titan stuff that they said it's coming shortly after release or whatever at the end. I'm like, I can totally like, I can see myself getting into this game, at least for a brief period of time, like wanting to level up my character and dive in, as long as people like have some people to dive into it with. I don't know how much fun.
I mean, that's the key. It depends if we commit. I think as a solo experience, I can't imagine it being super engaging. But yeah, as a co-op experience where we'll diving in, all shooting aliens, whatever. I'm sure it'll be a good time.
Sandworms, whatever else is
happening. Yeah, get in the spirit of Dune, right?
I'm very keen. Considering the barrier to entry is like basically nothing if you're a PlayStation Essential member and picking that up for the month. I don't say it's free. It is, isn't it?
No, I don't think so.
I don't remember.
Yeah, it's a day. It's a launch? No, I'm pretty sure it was. I thought it was. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Oh my god. Well then,
I'll tell you what it is.
You guys are the PlayStation podcast. I'm just the guest. Correct me if I'm
spreading lies over here on our PlayStation podcast.
I, as far as aware, they have not announced any such things.
No, it is $59.95. So not a full price game. So I mean,
barrier to entry is some money.
There you go. I'm out.
I was going to say, does this change your thoughts now?
Unless PlayStation is listening to this and wants to send through some codes.
No, it looks fun. It depends. I might pick it up. I'm kind of like, maybe I was more of a chance to pick it up when it was like your top down isometric style in the frame of like an Alien Nation or The Ascent or something like that. I didn't play the first one, but I loved those type of games. Playing in Alien Nation and haven't played Ascent, but I really want to. So I dig that more arcadey vibe, but this trailer maybe kind of flipped me the other way with how bombastic it was and how much chaos was happening at kind of one hit. I'd like to see how they kind of it plays gameplay wise, just not a lot of stuff happening and how you're actually coordinating things and what the goals and tasks are. So that's probably the key takeaway of seeing that. I was pretty impressed with how it looked. It's just kind of like, what are you doing in the game? And instead of being some kind of sizzle reel, and how does that look and how does that operate will be kind of the determining factor if I want to pick it up or not.
I mean, I assume it just plays like the other ones, but in third person, which is you're literally just moving through to objective A, killing a big mini boss, moving to objective B, protecting protecting something, and then like moving to an extraction point or some shit. You know, I feel like it's that same sort of thing where it's not so much what you're doing, is just, but this is where I'm like, is it more fun when it's top down and there's something like arcadey about the top down basic gameplay, but will that work in a third person perspective where the gameplay is just as engaging, you know, on a simplistic term?
Like you look at, like for me personally, I loved Division 2, Platinum that. We played a lot of that together. And then Division 1 I didn't really like. So they're essentially the same game, but doing the same thing. It's just kind of how it works and how it kind of operates that way.
Yeah, I guess it just depends on how it ends up feeling, especially seeing as this is Arrowhead's like first third person like shooter, because all their other games have been like top down.
Yeah. So that's the only thing I'm worried. I mean, but all the stuff in the trailers always looks good, but I mean, they're trailers, so
the biggest thing when I look at games like this is like, oh, should we be worried they're not top down anymore and isometric, going away from the arcade roots? You just look at like Housemarque, it's
Returnal,
like Alienation, Return, like Resogun, into what they did with Returnal. It's like, okay, have a little bit more faith, be a bit more optimistic.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I mean, that's the best example. Returnal, like it's so funny to think
it's the example.
When you say that, like, you're like, holy fuck, how did they pull that out of their ass? But yeah, they did.
Yeah. So if this can be even close to Returnal level, I think everybody would be pretty happy.
Let's set the bar a bit lower, because that's aiming for disappointment, I feel, if you're gonna. All right, so then we had Stellar Blade showed up next. Release date April 26th. Definitely not a buddy game. But Ash, what did you think about this? Like deep dive. We're talking about this game. Well, I think I've talked about this game a couple times because it's been in development for ages. It was, or at least it was like friends with the friends over at the. I don't know. I saw it show up at one of the hero projects somewhere or something like that. Originally, one of those sort of things. What do you think of it?
I mean, it looks like a good game. I don't know if that was like the best showing of it. Like, it was I don't think they presented it very well. You know, I think, they're obviously hitting a bunch of beats and like kind of explaining what the world is going to be and like setting up a lot of backstory for, I guess, that they haven't shown, because a lot of the other trailers have just been like action focused combat kind of stuff. This one kind of expanding on what you're actually going to do, what the story is going to be, characters and that kind of stuff. But it just kind of felt monotone, I guess. Maybe it just kind of felt bland a little bit. But once you actually saw the actual stuff you're going to do in like combat and story, that kind of stuff, it looked good. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think this was the most engaging way to present this stuff.
And depends if you like anime titty physics or not.
A lot of people saying there's no bras in the wasteland.
Yeah, it was more anime booty physics than anime titty physics, actually. And I actually disagree. I thought they did an excellent job of actually spelling out what the game did and kind of how it operates in all the systems. Like, not like a me game, but I also thought it looks kind of stunning and kind of reminded me of like Nier Automata. But in that world, I'm going to be a bit controversial, but that world is like seems colorless and dull and a bit flat, whereas at least this had like kind of pops of color. So I don't know how it's going to translate, especially for a first time developer that's done mobile stuff in the past. But even though it wasn't a me game, from like a analytical point of view, I'm like, okay, at least I know what this game looks like, what it operates with, and yeah, I thought visually it looked quite stunning, to be honest.
Yeah, the main stuff I've always liked about the look of this game is just the combat stuff they've shown up before. It's got very DMC, like Bayonetta or whatever, inspired combat. And I really like the design of the monsters and creatures they'd shown off before and like concept art and stuff like that. So I don't really like, this is the most I've seen about the actual world and characters. And there's just so many elements of it that clash together. between the story and the characters and the outfits the characters are wearing and whatever. It's very just weird, but whatever. I don't really care. I think it. Yeah, I want to play it because I think the combat looks cool and I get down with those sorts of games when I can play a good one. That said, I'm not obviously Bayonetta is my bar and I love that franchise, but if it's more DMC, that's where I'm like, I actually don't love DMC as much as some of it. I prefer just the fast paced dodge rolling countering stuff where DMC is a little bit different, but it looks really, really fast paced though. With the combat and boss fights, you can see at times and like QTE events. I hope there's not too many of those, but also I couldn't believe the amount of fucking ridiculous costumes this character's wearing throughout this trailer. Like, I swear that just switched to a scene and just be like, yeah, well, this seems like a good outfit to go fight a fucking 6 tentacled creature with a human head and a machine gun. Let's take this. They're wearing all this armor, but fuck it, Pilates. I don't know. Like, what the guy's ridiculous. Anyway, April 26th. I'm keen. Sonic Cross Shadow Generations was then announced. It is. I actually don't know. Is this like a remake of things that just cross between games? I don't actually know. Does anyone know what this is? What's it say?
Well, honestly, obviously, Sonic Generations was a game that came out.
That's why I'm confused. Yeah.
It says all new collection, including 2 unique experiences.
All new collection of what? Like Shadow? I didn't know Shadow
Sonic
had side-scrolling like Sonic games. Is that a thing? I thought all the Shadow Sonic games were third-person ones, or which I guess this kind of does look like. I don't know. Anyway, does anyone care about this game?
No, because they're releasing a Sonic game every 3 months, and I'm confused of like the lineage and what they all kind of are.
I think that's their trick, though. I think that's what they do. I actually think Sonic's having his biggest boom that I'm aware of, because I wasn't, I was alive, but I wasn't like old enough. But like the Sonic boom, yes. Ash, hit me with information.
Reading from the PlayStation blog. Today we unveiled Sonic X Shadows Generations, the upcoming Sonic the Hedgehog platformer, delivering blistering platforming challenges at speeds only Sonic and Shadow can deliver. It's a greatest hits playlist of iconic 2D and 3D Sonic levels from Sonic Generations, both remastered and expanded on PS5 and PS4. It includes an all-new standalone campaign for Shadow the Hedgehog.
Okay.
As well. So,
So speaking to the blown cartridges, guys, and one of their games of the year last year was the Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, it was a free one.
A free one. So I looked it up and I was like, this can't be real. And then I looked it up and I'm like, damn, Sonic is just everywhere right now, even to the point where he's getting killed.
Yep. But this is why I think Sonic's having the best time of his life, because they put out games like this, which is they're like, here, this is targeted at people who like they take Sonic seriously. Like, Sonic is a serious franchise. 2D, better than Mario. Fuck you, Sega, for the win. This is the shit. And then they go do those 3D games. What was that one that came out? Sonic, whatever that was called, the Frontiers, right? Open world, ridiculous. I have no idea what's going on. People were like, this game's sort of shit, but also it's good. We have no idea. We can't make our minds up. And then they're like, here's a free visual novel. And then the Twitter accounts constantly posting memes at like the biggest world events and stuff.
But then they released the what was it, Superstars? Like the day after Mario Wonder came out?
Mario Wonder, yeah.
And then they released a Sonic game for the Apple Arcade.
Yes, they did, actually.
Which apparently is the best one.
Yeah. But that one's only on Apple, not the one that you can play on Switch or PlayStation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. But I think, obviously, this is a very smart move with, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 probably coming out later at the end of this year. Set to feature Shadow the Hedgehog.
Yeah, those movies,
they do well.
Before, they're pretty fun.
Pretty fun. We should be getting the Knuckles TV show this year as well.
Yeah. Go Idris Elba. Then we got Zenless Zone Zero from Hoyoyo Voice, or however you say it. The game's boring. Oh, sorry, Zenless Zone Zero. That's what it stands for. I don't care about any of this stuff. I highly doubt Buddy does. Ash, I don't, unless you got 2 cents.
No, I like the art style, but that's about it.
There was a cute dog in it.
I was watching it, I'm like, is this Hi-Fi Rush?
Anytime you see Hoyoverse, look, much like you when you probably see most anime characters in anything, I see Hoyoverse and my brain just goes, all right, coffee break. Like, that's Like that is a name I can just zone the fuck out. Foam Stars come out talking about zoning the fuck out.
This is the one that's PS Plus
Yes.
that I got confused with. This is the one we're going to be foam diving
Hell
into.
Divers and Foam Stars, very similar games.
Very similar. I can see how you got that confused.
Well, there's shooting and there's multiplayer. Sold.
That's like you're such a basic bitch when it comes to like what's a game you can be sold on. The shooting and multiplayer. Fucking know me.
Shooting, multiplayer, and I don't have to pay any money for it.
Yeah. Well, that's it. And free.
That's actually the key ingredient. Yeah.
Is it free and it's multiplayer? Doesn't even need shooting. I can't play it with friends, and is it free? Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. What do we think of Foam Stars? This trailer was nothing to me. It didn't say anything that I haven't seen before. It's still Splatoon inspired foam shit. I don't know.
I mean, the only thing I got from this is that it implies there's a plan.
What's the plan?
There's going to be different modes. You know, they teased what the modes are going to be. There's going to be more characters. I did laugh when the screen, it popped up with skins on the screen, as if nobody... They needed to clarify that was going to be a thing.
It was crazy because at that point they were just describing things that are in games. It's like skins, weapons,
maps,
whatever else, maps, and I'm like,
options.
Okay, who wrote this garbage? If there was no kind of like precursor to it being PlayStation Plus and freely available for that first month of Essential, I would have just been like, yeah, whatever, who cares? But even though there was that, the trailer was still kind of like, whatever. I'm already going to download it and try it, okay?
Yeah. The barrier to entry is so low that you'd have to try extra hard to get you not to.
That's right.
I'd have to charge you for it.
Yeah, edit the thing I said before about Helldivers and edit that forward.
Apply it to this. Yeah. It's crazy how the first Foam Stars was a top-down shooter.
What, Splatoon?
Yes, David the Diver, one of Explosion Network's most talked about and top 10 games of 2023, is now coming to PlayStation in when was it? May? Yes, May. Oh no, April.
April.
And then the
Kaiju is May.
Kaiju is May. Yeah. So they announced the announcement trailer for it coming to PlayStation, a little short one, and then Godzilla DLC coming in May. I assume that's for everywhere though, not just PlayStation. Ash, are you diving back into Dave the Diver on PlayStation, or you've had your fill of the ocean?
I mean, it just depends on what's going around in April, I guess. But the odds are pretty good, you know. Especially because I never got around to playing that Dredge DLC, so, you know, if that's part of it, you know. 2 birds, 1 stone, you know, and then you get to fight. Then Godzilla's going to be involved. I'm going to throw it out there. I reckon you have to feed Godzilla, right? You're not going to fight Godzilla.
No, you're not going to fight.
Godzilla is going to like force his way into the sushi restaurant, and you have to like just serve him a bunch of food.
Well,
whatever he wants to eat.
If you've seen Godzilla -1, you know what you have to do to him.
That's true.
I have not seen Godzilla -1, so I don't know. I'm sorry.
That's right.
Did they give him a hug? Is that the secret?
Yeah, I was just about to say they give him a hug. They kill him with kindness. He's just misunderstood, actually.
So I thought it might be.
Yeah.
I mean, not spoiler, but the funniest thing about this is, so Buddy started playing this without realizing today, or downloaded the demo on his Switch, and then I assumed he knew it was coming to PlayStation. I was like, oh, that's funny. Why aren't you waiting for PlayStation? Anyway, he hadn't watched the state of play yet. So now that you know it's coming to PlayStation, where are you going to play it?
Yeah, definitely PlayStation. So I just went onto the Switch to download the Donkey Kong versus Mario or whatever demo that was, because that dropped today. So I was like on the store already. I'm like, oh, Dave the Diver does have a demo. I was already possibly going to buy it, but maybe I'll just play the demo quickly and see if I actually do like it, so that when it does come to PlayStation eventually, then I'll know whether I actually want to pick it up. And then play through the prologue. I'm like, this is great. This is cool. This is amazing. It's hilarious. There's so many different gameplay mechanics. It's cool. This is awesome. And then you said that in the thing, and I'm like, yeah, okay. No, I am waiting. What is he talking about? And then I watched the state, and I watched the state of play, and then I'm like, Dave the Diver. I'm like, oh great, it's fucking, this is
confirmed.
Confirmed. And then it's April. I'm like, oh excellent.
That's funny. When does the prologue start? Oh, sorry, does the demo start like from the start of the game?
From the start, and you play the whole prologue up to the start of chapter 1.
Yeah, okay.
So it's pretty decent. It kind of introduces you to a lot of the mechanics that are in it already.
I like this more recent trend of demos just being like, just start the game from the very start and just play like the first couple hours or the first hour.
Yeah.
Like, just play it, you know, not a random section.
Not like a curated section.
Yeah, I much prefer that, I think.
Yep.
Just have a go. Especially all the meta games now that do the download the demo and then your save file just carries over. So it's like, more games should do that shit.
Yeah. So look forward to Dave the Diver being game of 2024.
I think it's
it's eligible for any category it wants to be in.
Yeah, I think the craziest thing is this.
I'm getting big indie
game.
vibes from it too.
Yeah, big indie. The small indie developer manages to score a relationship with Toyo for.
I feel like that is like almost unfairly kind of attached itself to its kind of reputation and as kind of a game now, with all that kind of backlash in this, like these kind of circles, like, oh, it's not a indie and all this blah blah blah, and like people that maybe hadn't experienced before that are kind of like, maybe they're kind of put off of buying it or going forward
maybe
with it now.
And I guess it's that thing of people, including us, where I like we spent like, it's definitely like talk negatively about it, and I hope that didn't like affect people if they were listening to things, but because ultimately it wasn't a case of one of these times
it was
where
no responsibility was on Dave the Diver and
or the developers or anything. It
was completely
Jeff Keighley, that fucker.
The judges at the Game Awards.
It was literally mirror up the industry that voted it in.
Yeah.
The top 1% who are all, old press start and
this fuckers.
Taking that 10-cent money. No, the
what are you talking about?
What is who owns them again? Yeah, no, Tencent, right? It's
no,
Tencent.
It's something else.
All right. Some big company owns them. Anyway, no one owns them. They're an indie developer. What are you talking about? Then we got a trailer for The Rising, which basically looks like, I don't know. It's like, I thought it was Castlevania for a hot second, but apparently it's not. It's V Rising. It looks really cool though. I liked it. Just top-down, isometric vampire action RPG game. I don't like all the combat and stuff looked cool. All of that I could get down with. The only part I was confused about was the part at the start trailer where they're like chopping down stuff. I presumed for
so it's a survival game. It's been on early access on Steam since 2022. So it's not brand new, but obviously coming to PlayStation for the first time.
Well, I assume this is the full release. Like that would become PlayStation. It's not coming to PlayStation.
Yeah, I'd assume so. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I know. I thought it looked really
good. So it's a survival game where you're a vampire.
You live forever, right? Unless you go out in the light.
Unless you encounter sunlight or garlic.
Yeah.
Or crosses.
Not much of a survival game. This looks like something you might like though, Ash. So did you get that?
I mean, the combat looked like, cool. Top-down, isometric kind of. I was getting like, roguelite vibes. But, if it's got that survival element, I don't know. I have to see more.
You don't like survival stuff? I thought you'd like some light survival stuff.
Maybe some light survival.
Is it the vampires? It's too scary for you, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I know. You can say it. It's okay. How about you, buddy? Do you like any vibes on this one?
I like vampires, but as far as like this game and this style of game, not for me. No. Yeah.
I don't know if the vampires could sway you, I don't know. No. It's like if they made a top-down survival shark game.
Top-down isometric biter, then maybe.
Fucking hell.
It's just a blood hell.
Yeah. Easy trophies, I'm sure. Just hold X pop trophies. Then we got into the Silent Hill segment of the show. So we started with Silent Hill, the short message, getting a trailer and a release date. I've been told it's 2 hours according to Buddy before the show. It's free. I've downloaded it. I want to play it. I thought it looked pretty cool based on the trailer. You're running around as this girl. I don't know, lots of freaky shit's happening. It's first person.
So it's PC, right?
What?
No, it's out on PS5.
Yeah,
it isn't Konami doing PC.
No, you can't say that. All right, they'll fucking shut the podcast down. Someone will sue us.
Who?
Konami. Fuck Konami. Yeah, I don't know. Obviously not for you, Ash. Buddy, do you want to play this? Or...
Probably not.
You sure? Because
even though it's free,
it's free.
Yeah,
I don't know if you're aware, but it's free.
But is there guns and is there multiplayer? It's got to hit like two out of three of those. No, I like maybe I don't know. Nothing kind of like blew me away from it. I'm more interested in like the third person perspective, like when we get to Silent Hill 2 in a minute. yeah, I feel like I don't. I feel like I've hit my fill of those type of first-person horror games in that era of like Outlast, and all that kind of thing.
It actually looked pretty like high quality for a 2-hour free thing.
Yeah,
though. Hopefully,
it's just it's just 2 hours of time. Maybe I don't have that.
It's a movie.
Yeah, that's right. I'll go watch a movie.
Here's the deciding thing. It doesn't look like there's any trophies, so fuck it.
Oh, you should have led with that.
Silent Hill 2. So remake, the first trailer for it. I actually don't have. I've never played Silent Hill 2, so I don't know. Have you played the original, buddy?
No, I haven't. Okay. Well, if I have, it's like one of those things. Once again in the rental era, and by rental I mean like mod chip, where you own every single game and you play like 1 hour of every single game, and maybe attached to 3 or 4 of them, and that becomes your memory of like, oh yes, I did do that. So yeah, not enough to say I play that and I remember it, or I have some kind of like affection or affinity of those memories.
I remember seeing one of my friend's dad play it at his house once when I was there, but that's literally my. And I remember thinking, this looks terrible. I don't know. I'd want to play this. Like, I remember how I felt watching his dad play it is how I think Ash feels when he watches anyone play horror games. Because I was like, why would you want to do this to yourself? Which is how I think Ash acts. But you're keen for this, then, the remake, buddy? Or?
Yeah, I think I am. Especially like not playing Resident Evil 2 and then kind of jumping into the remake of that and kind of busting that out and finishing that over a weekend, and just how good that was, specifically with its like backtracking, its puzzle solving, and combining the horror elements in the combat. So I'm not sure how that translates to Silent Hill 2, like maybe being more supernatural and more spooky and stuff. But yeah, I guess that, remakes at the moment, certain remakes have impressed me, so it's kind of like I'm in good faith to play those. Specifically like Dead Space, I played for the first time last year. I'm like, okay, well, these things are translating quite well. Maybe I'll give some of them a crack that are worth it.
No, my favorite thing about all these remakes are like PS1, PS2 era games in particular, and especially PS1 era games. It's because people make these really high caliber, like they look fantastic, sound fantastic, play really well, whatever, but it's still like 4 to 6 hours because that's all games were back then.
Well, that's what upcoming Tomb Raider 1 to 3.
Yeah.
Remastered, and they're totally changing like the graphical options, the control scheme, some of the gameplay elements to make it easier or more accessible. So yeah, bring it on, let's go.
I'm actually getting weirdly keen for that collection every time. And because I know, do you remember that? Was it PS2, PS3? They did a PS3, I think it was, remake of the first one.
Yeah. So they did. No, you mean the second trilogy they did?
No, maybe. No. They did.
They've done like 3. They've done like 3 trilogies now. There's the OG trilogy that's getting remastered. Then like there's a PS3 generation trilogy, like of like
which started with like
Anniversary,
Underworld and
Legends, Underworld, and they put those into a Tomb Raider trilogy. That's why they can't name this Tomb Raider trilogy. Okay. That's why it's Tomb Raider 1 to 3, whatever it is, which is so silly with the naming conventions.
It's weird because I think I've played every Tomb Raider game. But it's still a franchise that weirdly, some of the early ones are just blur. It's
like a rite of passage as like a PlayStation owner through all the generations. Like Tomb Raider game comes out, I'm like, I feel compelled to play this. It's like a part of the console's identity, and I'm a part of that ecosystem, or I like the console. It's kind of weird.
I need to look now. What's your favorite one while I'm looking?
My favorite Tomb Raider?
Yep.
Ooh, that's tough. I can't really remember too much of the old stuff. There was one on PS3. I think it was Underworld or Legends that I played that was quite good.
Underworld's really good.
The OG, obviously, like, just memory-wise. But I think the new stuff that kind of remade, I liked Tomb Raider Legends.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of. That was like the remake.
No, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Shadow? No, not Shadow. That's the third of the remake series. Like Rise of the Tomb Raider, the one that Xbox gatekeeped PlayStation fans for about a year.
Yeah. I know my answer is Tomb Raider: The Last Revelation is always my go-to, which is the 4th one, because I played the first few hours so many times. It starts when Lara's like a teenager or whatever. She's down there with her dad, and then he like gets killed at the end of the opening level, and then it skips ahead in time.
Hot take. Lara Croft, Temple of Osiris. Or Lara Croft Go.
I mean, yeah, they're good answers.
Yep.
They should make more of those, or even those like Guardian of the Light.
Yes, more isometric.
Yeah, more isometric. What the fuck was we talking about? No, Silent Hill. Yeah,
Silent Hill, and how HDs and remakes are having good faith at the moment.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yep, I'll play it.
Play them. Have you ever played any? No, you wouldn't have, would you, Ash? Any of the older ones? Tomb Raiders?
No, I never got around to playing any of them.
No.
Now's your chance. Soon.
Yeah. See, in my mind, there's a point. Like, so Ash appeared out of I'm not sure. I think he was a bunker chart, because there's a certain point where anything that's like prior to a certain period, and I can't name the year. I just feel it in my nethers, right? But any video game or movie released prior to this point of time, I'm like, well, that's when Ash was still in the bunker.
Watch Jaws, fuck you.
I've seen Jaws.
What'd you say it was? Yeah. For the audio listeners at home, Buddy Watson stuck his middle fingers up it. Actually, lovely. All right, next thing was Judas, not Chris Jericho.
No.
So this is the
what about Lady Gaga?
Yeah, all that. This is the new game from Ken Levine, who previously did Bioshock, and he left that team. And then for years he did nothing and said he was going to work on a smaller game. And then he apparently fired a bunch of his team and then did nothing for years later. And then anyway, here's his new game. It looks like Bioshock.
Yep.
And it's re-revealed as well.
Yep.
It's like not even, oh, here it is, a reveal. It's like, cool. Like, don't we have, this is the epitome of that like meme. Like, we already have Bioshock at home.
This is different. They're coming from space, right?
Not true.
I think this looks meh. Is that a hot take?
No, not in this crowd. I don't think.
You're like, not an audience of me.
Not an audience of me. Triple A sucks.
How about you, Ash? What are you gonna say? Where do you stand on this, Judas?
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
I mean, it could potentially be interesting. I mean, it just depends on what kind of themes they're tackling. Like, it looks like they might be delving into the idea of celebrity and because they've got the big three, seem to be three celebrity figures, and like if they're like can kind of have overinflated importance and influence, I mean that could be an interesting thing to explore, especially given the way the culture is at the moment, with certain people having way more influence than they probably ever thought they would have.
Or deserve, Ash. You were going to say deserve.
I wasn't going to say deserve.
I'll say it then.
What have you got against the Taylor Swift?
I wasn't speaking about Taylor Swift. Don't twist my words, motherfucker.
What, you're talking about Logan Paul? Yeah, I mean, it looks fine. Yeah, I laughed. I think it was like, this is a dinosaur with the cowboy hat in it. That's funny.
Horse? There's a horse towards the end, I think. Standing up on his hind legs. A person in a horse outfit.
No, it's definitely... Oh, no, that's a horse, yeah. You're right.
Yeah. They're very similar. I can understand.
Also funny.
Dinosaurs, yeah.
I mean, just the angle, A horse, when it's holding a gun with its hind legs, with its front legs.
Here's my really hot take on... We'll keep going. People like to use the word auteur, right? It should be reserved for people who really deserve it. And people liked to, and they still probably do, even though they're wrong. They'd love to throw Ken Levine's name in with Kojima's and stuff. But I'll tell you why he's not a fucking auteur, is because this dude did System Shock, right? And then he comes over and he goes Bioshock, and then he goes away and he can't come up with anything new, and he comes back and just does Bioshock, right? Hideo Kojima's out here creating all new genres.
That's right. Without Hideo Kojima, we don't get Super Mario Bros. Wonder.
Yep.
It's true.
The influence of Strand games across the industry.
I'm not even fucking joking. I'm pretty sure. I honestly feel like that feature wouldn't exist without Death Stranding.
Does it look like I'm joking?
I just don't think. Yeah. Like, look at this. He did Thief, System Shock 2, Freedom Force, Tribes Vengeance, Freedom Force: The Third Reich, SWAT 4, Bioshock Infinite, Bioshock Burial at Sea, disappear for fucking 10 years, Judas. Get out of here with this, like, Ken Levine's No, get out of here. I'm fucking.
So what? If you don't make anything for 10 years, you just can't be classified as an auteur.
He's done one type of game. First person, heavily narrative thing. Whatever. You watch a trailer and you go, that's a Bioshock type game, right?
Okay. Who would you consider auteur outside of Kojima?
Nobody.
Miyamoto?
That's fair.
How many auteurs do I need to be able to name? The idea is that there's not supposed to be many.
I know. I feel like there's a bunch of auteurs in the film industry.
Yeah, film industry's a lot older though.
And they actually make art.
That's the clip for this week.
Man, you're really that's coming out swinging, eh? Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I'd have to think about it. I feel like there might be, but I feel like the bar would be very, very low for who I would consider auteurs in the video game industry, to be honest. But
I've got one, but it's controversial and I don't want to say it. Oh, no, it's not going to show. I'll send it to
Neil Druckmann is a weird... I don't think he's an auteur.
I didn't say Neil Druckmann. I'll send it to you privately. You can't show it. You can't say it. I want to hear your reaction, though.
Okay. All right.
Here it is.
All right. Where am I looking at my phone, actually?
You're looking at your phone.
All right, I'm looking at my phone. Oh, that is controversial. We're not saying that. That's where I fall on that. Fucking.
Am I right or wrong?
Fucking.
Could I be right?
No, we're not saying that. No, yeah, you could be.
I mean, if you had,
I don't want to say
did
that.
you just say you have to make a game within the last 10 years? You know.
No,
I said
you don't
have to.
You don't have to make a game. I just
you
said
can
you
go
have to.
many decades and years without making games and still be an auteur.
Yeah,
It's
but you're
kind of how you
complaining about
approach
them all
the
being
art.
the same genre, right? Same type of game. Every time.
They're not.
No, fuck this guy.
No. You're wrong. You're wrong.
This guy's not. He's more of an Adam Levine.
This podcast. VR section of the show starts. Metro Awakening. So PSVR 2 game, Metro Universe, get depressed in virtual reality in this world. I mean, it looks pretty cool to me. I've played 2 of the Metro games. Maybe eventually I'll play the 3rd one. I've got it sitting here. I've played each Metro game about 5-6 years after they've released. So, you know, there's still time for me to finish the trilogy. I don't think anyone else here's played any of the Metro games. No, I don't think so.
No.
It's just a bunch of people complaining about life, dying, the world sucks, Russian accents, you know. Is
it Russian or Ukrainian? I can't remember.
Well, the development's Ukrainian, but there's a lot of Russian accents, you know.
Okay.
So I think I'd want to play this though. I think it looked pretty high caliber for
it looked pretty good for it. It is probably the most impressive PSVR title I've seen so far. At least from the, you know.
Yeah.
The closest thing a PSVR 2 owner could get to Half-Life Alyx.
Yeah, I think that's a fair statement. Even if you're like, no, a Metro game isn't going to be my cup of tea. This looked definitely one of the highest caliber things in PSVR 2, I think. Legendary Tales is the next thing. So this is a fucking Skyrim, but it's not called Skyrim. I guarantee if this shit was called Elder Scrolls Skyrim VR, people, exact same trailer, but change the name, people frothing it. Internet's blowing up. But it's not called it, so everyone's like,
It's got the most generic name you could possibly come up with.
Yes.
That is surprising somebody else has not called it.
But my point still stands, which is that I saw people on Twitter making fun of this going, generic fantasy game, which to be fair, kind of true. It is a very generic fantasy game. But I'm telling you, if generic fantasy game happened to be called Elder Scrolls Skyrim, people would be like, take my money. I'm buying a VR headset just for this.
No, yeah. I mean, it's rough to release a VR fantasy game post Asgard's Wrath 2, which like was getting 10s and like regarded as one of the best VR titles of all time.
It's not on PSVR 2 though.
Yeah, just not on PSVR.
Yeah,
it's fine. We're getting Asgard 2 at home.
I actually thought this looked pretty cool. It like the part where they're like he's blocking old mate the skeleton like 3-4 times in a row, like parrying him and shit. That looked pretty cool. I know it looks
The
generic.
the thing that got me is you flip the dagger in your hand. It's like
Arya Stark.
How do you do those buttons? Like, you're actually doing like a little flick wrist flip. I know.
Seem cool though. It's an ARPG too, so you got the full stats. If you care about that,
yeah, they'll let you know it is an action role playing game.
They really want you to care about that part. Maybe after Baldur's Gate, huge success, they're like, let's double down on like the nerdy stat side of this shit and tell everyone so they know.
I mean, they should have just let you roll dice for everything. Yeah.
But I've played that game. There's a really good PSVR game. What the fuck was that game called? I can't remember. But it's the one. It's literally just playing D&D on a table. It's actually fucking cool. I'm telling you. And you play with other people.
Was it Demio?
Yeah, that one, Demio. Yeah, and you're playing online and other people, and each game would go for like several hours. Oh, so good.
Just like real D&D.
Yeah. Yeah. No, a lot shorter. That's the point. Dragon's Dogma 2 got a trailer. I don't think anyone here cares about too much about Dragon's Dogma, but it is a highly beloved game that's magically got a sequel. And even though I've never played the first one, and I didn't really care too much, I never really got the itch to try it the first one. And so far, none of the trailers for this have done much to me. This one, the action trailer, I thought looked pretty cool. Like visually, the variety of enemies, the combat actually looked a lot more visceral than I thought it was. I thought this was just more of a, like MMO type fighting thing where you're just performing actions. I'm thinking about Dragon Age combat and shit where it's just like you casting spells. There's not much animation to it or anything, but this looks actually pretty cool. I don't know. Ash, do you have any thoughts on Dragon's Dogma?
Yeah, it looks cool. I mean, it's again kind of interesting that it's being released post Baldur's Gate 3, and like you could kind of like, hey, if you're upset about Baldur's Gate 3 being turn-based combat, here's a fantasy world game that you can play that's action-based, but it's kind of dropping it at awkward time for my kind of releases. So
the craziest thing about the release of this is it's dropping on the same day as Rise of the Ronin. And check this out. This could be a Barbenheimer thing. Princess Peach Showtime. Look at that.
Try and combine those three names into one.
I can't. I've been sitting here for like a minute thinking about it. And,
Rise of the Peach's Dogma.
Rise of the Princess Peach Dogma. Rise of the Peach Dogma.
Yep. We're in.
There you go.
Kevin Smith.
Rise of the Dragon's Peach.
Charmaine's going to try and fuck it.
Fucking hell. Talking about Rise of the Ronin, got our in-depth gameplay overview for that game. Gave us the best idea at what this is, which is basically Assassin's Creed Samurai that I think most people have been asking for. That's what it looks like to me, to be honest. Like, it just looks like...
It looks like Samurai Spider-Man, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, because that was my big thing. Like every other trailer, every other time we talk about this game, there's always just still a little bit of fear in your voice and your face about like, is this just going to turn out to be a Souls game, and can I care about this game or not? Like you've never committed. That's the most commitment I've heard from you in terms of are you excited for this game? So you're on board now. You're like, yes.
I'm on board. Yeah, I'm confident this is going to be what I want it to be, which is another version of Ghost of Tsushima. Very big open world samurai. This time with guns and from what all the story stuff I've seen like elsewhere, that this one wasn't super story heavy, super interesting with lots of branching paths and that kind of stuff, and had very historical moments and that kind of stuff kind of pulled in and that kind of stuff. So
yeah, well, old mate literally goes, he doesn't say a period of Japan, he goes, yeah, so it's open world, it's Japan.
Open, well, it brings up like specific battles that actually happened in history and that kind of stuff. So but my favorite thing is, he swings around on like a rope, then he pulls out a glider from somewhere, and then just as he's about to land, suddenly a horse just appears and he's riding.
So this is the best thing about when you get out of American developers. They go, is the gameplay system fun? Yes. Does it make sense? Not really.
Who cares?
Like, the trade-off is well worth it. What are your thoughts on Rise of the Ronin, buddy? Especially as like one of the biggest upcoming PS5 exclusives.
Yeah, it looks great. Once again, not my style of game. I couldn't help but draw comparisons to Ghost of Tsushima while watching it. Especially like I think Nioh 2 came out in the same year as Ghost of Tsushima.
I think so. Yeah.
So this is like the first, I guess, big project post Ghost of Tsushima having its effect on the industry, and kind of like it's kind of on a hiding to nothing with those kind of parallels. Whether people, it's probably a good thing that it's not like oversaturated yet. People kind of like, cool, we want more of these type of games because we've been begging for it for so long. But I'm just kind of wondering how many people pick this up because they loved Ghost of Tsushima and play it. I only got through the first island, or enough people go, well, I have already played Ghost of Tsushima. It looks a bit too similar or something. So I never quite understand. Like, I'm always interested in where it kind of will go sales wise from that perspective. But personally, I'm not really interested. I'd love a style of game like this that wasn't open world. A lot of them are kind of like in the indie scene, but seem to be like 2D or even like the first Hellblade. I know it's not samurai or anything, but can you imagine if we'd had that kind of short experience with samurai based combat? I was thinking about the combat that was in that game, or the brief combat that was in there. So I'd love for like a much shorter experience to kind of exist, but that's not how things operate anymore.
Gonna make it big. Gonna make it 100 hours long. Millions of collectibles. Huge map.
Yeah.
Subscription services.
Because there's probably a great story in Ghost of Tsushima. I just never got to get through it because I'm doing all the side things. I'm exploring.
Yeah, you're too busy petting foxes and taking baths.
Like there's a lot to do in the game. So like there's probably some awesome. And I know people are probably like, "We'll just mainline it." Like if they wanted me to mainline it, they wouldn't put in all the other stuff there to kind of help world build. And maybe if they wanted that story to be the prevailing thing, maybe it would be more condensed in a different style of game. So
best story in that game was the side mission, not any of the main missions. Actually, knows what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Same way.
The bums.
Nope. Nope. It was about a little old lady. Sweet little lady. Yeah, I think I'm keen. I think the combat looks really cool in this trailer. Very fast paced, but not. It doesn't seem overly complicated. It's literally just like break your opponent's guard.
Will you be able to do that? You reckon?
Fucked if I look. Fucking, we'll see. I might make a video about it if I can. I swear. I reckon I'll have to go off.
Finally,
smash a collector's edition or something. Oh fuck it. I don't know. The only thing I would say is that I don't like the idea of this being a massive open world game. That's my only. That's my only thing. That's the turn off for me. But I'm gonna hope that even if it is a massive, like you could do a big game, but big game that doesn't take 50 million hours. Big world, but 20 hour. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, like Assassin's Creed Mirage, how they've kind of pared back their
like
showing.
So just give you the map, but don't overfill it. You know.
It's fine.
No, it's not, Ash. It's not fine. It's not fine at all. It's counter fine.
I think you're only saying that because you've got another massive open RPG that you want to play like the month before. So a couple back to back is not what you want to be doing.
No, it's because I want to be able to finish the game. And if it's fucking like 80 hours, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to finish it.
Then you just need to commit.
No, because then I'll be like, I won't play anything else for the rest of the fucking year. All right, moving on. Until Dawn remake. For some reason, it's dumb. Does anyone disagree?
Because they're making the movie.
Still dumb.
It's
dumb. Coming to PS. It's coming to PC. That's why.
It is dumb. But it cross-platform trophies.
I think that's the major factor. It's coming to PC, so they're like, let's just remaster it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd be interested. Do you reckon that all the actors got another paycheck?
You're opening a big can of video game.
We'll bring SAG.
Yeah, SAG questions there.
They've still been recast. Yeah. There's no hashtag save the cheerleader anymore.
It's a big question. All right, moving on now. Let's get into the good shit then. So, Death Stranding now officially called. And I hadn't watched this until right before recording, but I looked on Twitter, and when I saw it was called Death Stranding 2 on the beach, I was standing at the front counter at work, and I was like, what the fuck is that? So we got about 10 minutes on Death Stranding 2. I would put this trailer in the realm of I understand it more than I understood like the first 5 trailers of Death Stranding. But as someone who's played Death Stranding twice, platinumed it, beat it twice, I still barely understand what the fuck's happening in this trailer.
Yeah, I'm watching this and I'm like, I'm gonna need the like longest and most in-depth Death Stranding 1 recap video for this.
But boy, am I excited!
Some kind of idea going on. I'm like, what the hell is this? What is all these things? It's the most wild trailer of like, we're on the ship, we're on here, like Fragile's back. It's
but
like
even
when
you,
oh, what the hell is all this?
Even when you break it down, you're like, okay, well, Higgs was a bad guy, and he died, and he was like a terrorist, basically, and then nothing can prepare you for. But now he's back alive. He's come back from the beach, which is basically like the afterlife, and he's come back from the beach. And now he's wearing like a weird face, and he's got an electric guitar that he's fighting. But nothing can prepare you for that. Like,
I mean, there is a lot of stuff that you can't prepare for. I mean, they redo the iconic shot of the Lou inside the I don't know, somebody's in the womb or whatever.
Yeah.
But instead, a ship comes flying out of his mouth.
It's so good. And I mean, even like I knew that what's his face? Miller.
George Miller.
George Miller's like I knew he like I saw the tweet saying was in the trailer, right? And that made sense because I remember seeing the photo of him and Kojima, and I was like, you know, anytime he posts a picture of someone, you just assume they're going to show up in the game at some point.
Yeah.
But nothing could prepare me for the fact that he's still hired the person doing the actual performance for that character in the game. Is just like the most over the top, like, yeah, well, I ain't the fucking beach stranded babe down here gonna pull her down with a bloody Australian accent, ain't I? It's crazy. But yeah, are we all super keen for this? I guess like initial takeaways is
yeah, I'm sure Buddy's super keen because he's growing his hair out to audition for the role of Sam Porter Bridges in the Death Stranding movie, right?
100%. That's right. Yeah. I'm gonna.
That's what the actual reason. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, Death Stranding was game of the generation. The people that gave it 3s were psychopaths. They're the ones that don't understand art. It's like video games actually trying to make art, and you actually have somebody that wants to push the medium in a direction and challenge it for all it's worth. So yeah, of course, like this was the most captivating thing. I could not take my eyes off it. It was bizarre. Like you think, you know, at the start of the trailer when you go in and you see Lou usually do the thumbs up, and then a robot comes out of the mouth. Like, well, what the hell? It's like totally subverting any kind of expectations you would have of a Kojima game when you think you know what's happening because it's just a sequel, but then it's just even more batshit crazy. And the fact that like Troy Baker's character, like Higgs, is now the Joker, some kind of punk metal guitar, weaponized. Here's how I got those scars type bizarro thing. Yeah, it's crazy, and I've got no idea. And like, there's such stunning wide aerial shots in this game of like, at one point I'm like, oh my god, this looks like June. When it's across like the sand dunes and everything. They showed briefly a little bit of snow, not too much of that, but yeah, the kind of the environment, kind of the water and the river kind of like overflowing and breaking down the bridge and coming toward it. I don't think we had any of that kind of dynamic weather details that were in the first game. As far as like a graphical perspective, I thought Stellar Blade earlier on looked like was stunning. And I'm like, oh damn, this might be the most impressive video game trailer graphically I've seen. This looks like a next gen game, which is kind of weird from a first time develop, but then Death Stranding kind of like one up that again. Yeah. So this was just on every single level, just bullshit, shit crazy, amazing, and I'm here for all of it.
Yeah, I can't wait. So many more varied environments in this. Not to say the first one was like you had a little bit of different biomes and stuff, but not a lot. But nothing like this trailer literally goes, well, there's like a desert, there's rocky area that sort of looks like the first game. Here's that part of the water you're talking about. Here's some snow shit. Here's a part where they're looking at the moon on a different planet. I don't know what the.
I don't know. I kind of got the implication that they're in Europe. Is that what?
They keep talking about Mexico.
They did bring up Mexico, so
yeah.
Several times they're like Mexico, something they're joining other places
with America, yeah, or the UNC, whatever they're called.
George Miller is friggin' What the hell?
Yeah, one of the main characters now.
Yeah.
We haven't even spoken about the little doll as well.
The little doll that runs at a different fucking frame rate.
Yeah. I feel for all like the animators that like have had to make this happen. Like I can't imagine it has been easy. Maybe it is. I don't know how all that technical stuff works. But from a movie perspective, when you think like Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse and all that trilogy and kind of the challenges they do and the kind of the how they've taken that to another level. I'm like, God damn, Kojima saw that, didn't he? And he's like,
I want to do something like that.
I want to do something like this in the game. And then like the animator's just like, oh my God, how the fuck are we going to do this? So, it's like Night of the Living. It's like a Goosebumps character. It's like the ventriloquist doll.
Yeah.
Night of the Living Dead or whatever, some bizarro fucking doll. I love it.
And it's every time I see something too, just because you try and like go, I see something and now I go, okay, if I was Hideo Kojima, how would I be thinking about this? So it's like the hands for the masks now, constantly around Fragile's neck and stuff. I'm like, okay, Kojima, hands. Someone's hands are around her neck. She's being controlled by someone. That's it. I'm like, everything's a metaphor, right? Everything has to have a meaning. All right, he's got a little doll that he has to carry around all game. Doll, okay, for a doll. What could that mean? Like, what's the implication?
There were dolls in the first game, remember? You know?
Yes.
So
it's like, what's a doll do?
It's the extension. You know?
Because every time you hear him talk about Death Stranding, the first one, it's just such the most like, well, the strands are like it'll be the most like metaphorical crap, and then before playing the game, you're like, this is all nonsense. What the fuck are you talking about? And then you play Death Stranding like I remember finishing at whatever time it was, like fucking early in the morning AM time, just sitting there like fucking tears run down my face going, it's the strands, like we're people. So yeah, I mean I said after the first Death Stranding I was like, I'm fucking aboard whatever Kojima does now. I'm like, that's it. I mean, Kojima, I'm now Kojima's super fan. This is the shit. So yeah,
everything except OT, right?
Except for what?
OT.
Is it the Xbox one?
Yeah.
No, I'll play that too. It's okay. He can accept it.
I know you're bitching about a lot of the Game Awards.
Yeah, I'll play it in a year after it's released when it comes to PlayStation. Have to pay double the price.
The only other interesting thing, I think we can kind of rule out our theory that Elle Fanning's Lou.
Can we though?
Yeah, unless she's like different stages of growing, like there's some kind of time thing, the rain.
I think he would have recognized her if she was Lou.
Oh no, let's hold on. Yeah,
and then there's there was like Sam was really old at the start of the trailer, and then obviously he was the same age as we know him. So
time for me. See, look, if you're like, no, we can rule out these things. Let's reiterate: the first game is about Sam who has a baby called BB, and then you've got a character played by Mads Mikkelsen chasing your game, and he's saying that you stole his baby, and it actually turns out that you're his baby. So no, we're not ruling out that fucking Elle Fanning's.
I like the idea of like, there was the line there somewhere in the trailer, like, was it a mistake for us to connect to be connected to him? Like, oh fuck, I love this whole kind of.
Yes, it was.
Everyone's sitting there going, yeah, fucking
being connected. It was a dumb idea.
What for Elon Musk?
Everybody for themselves.
Elon Musk fucking's like, oh, this is the best trailer ever. It's talking shit on fucking Twitter, social media. I can't wait. It's a fucking year though. Oh fuck it. I hope it's early 2025. I can't. I just need it. I need it in my life.
How many trailers do you think we get?
Well, here's the thing. It's like, how many trailers do we get, or how many times does Kojima just show up at a show and show you a 3-minute cutscene from the game? Because that's what happened with the first one. But by the time we got around to actually playing Death Stranding, you're like, oh, that trailer wasn't actually a trailer. It was literally just, here's a cutscene from the game, out of context. And that's why it was so much confusion consistently around the game and everything. So, but the best thing about this game is it doesn't matter. We just saw 9 minutes, nearly 10 minutes. Still have no fucking clue what it's about.
No idea.
Yeah, they could show me another 20 minutes of trailers. I'll still
Fragile's mysterious benefactor.
Yeah.
It's someone we know.
Fragile in only the name now. Oh, one line.
Yeah. That's the one. No, she's selling her hands.
Yeah. Fucking Adam's family lighting a cigarette over here. Good for you.
I mean, I mean, when I first watched it, I was like, oh, it's crazy that nobody did like hands for that for like masks during COVID. You know,
there has to be some COVID influence, like heavy COVID influences in this.
100%.
Yeah. The only other thing is I was really trying to work out what the fucking thing was with that body. Like, you know, they're like at the start and then the trailer where they're just like George Miller's bursting the little button, and I guess it's the stuff coming out is like time for black goo shit, you know, but they're acting like
they call it primordial soup.
Yeah. So I don't know. People are going to break this trailer down. I haven't had a chance because I didn't watch it, but I guarantee when I get into bed tonight, I'm going to open up YouTube. I'm going to type in Death Stranding 2 trailer breakdown, and I hope some smart motherfucker out there has got a lot of. I'm ready to get aboard the.
It's like 3.5 hours breaking it down frame by frame.
Yeah. I'm in. The perfect video for me to fall asleep to, I tell you.
Yeah, I definitely don't have 2 hours to play that Silent Hill game.
Yeah. Well, a 3-hour breakdown on this Death Stranding thing. All right. Outside of that, they ended it with a one more thing in kind of an announcement thing, which is that Kojima is also working on, quote unquote, working on a game that's bringing back the tactical espionage genre. Sort of tying it in the way he words it. It's like my 40th anniversary is coming up as a developer. I'm returning to the genre for PlayStation that's made me who I am. This will be like my magnum opus game, which it could be. Like this is the thing. How do we feel about Buddy? How do you feel about Kojima returning to the genre that everyone wants him to do again?
Fuck yeah, it's what the people want, right? Like, and he kind of pushed that narrative forward once again with he's kind of wanting to do films and everything with Metal Gear Solid, and now what he's kind of doing with Death Stranding. Basically, we've seen that he has no kind of creative reign or kind of any type of leash, specifically with why Death Stranding 2 is on the beach in the title. Yeah, bring it on. I'm keen to see what he does. Like Metal Gear Solid 5 was just absurd with the kind of amount of things you could do in that game and some of the like humor, but then like also political kind of undertones and warfare and ideologies that were kind of getting spruiked in that as well. So bring it on.
Every time I slowly realized it just when you said Metal Gear Solid 5, my brain went, fuck, what a good game. And I was like, maybe Kojima is my favorite developer. I don't know.
And then like the whole tie-in of like them saying it's going to be part real life, part this, part that. Like it's going to be multifaceted and layered. And like, God, he's just like, what the hell?
I just like
the only type of game that I can think of that's done that recently, and I haven't played it yet, but I don't really have any spoilers from it. But just from kind of hearing about it, it's like last year's Alan Wake 2 kind of pushing some kind of boundaries with certain kind of ways of telling a story. So if Kojima is going to be going on that route, it's going to be even wilder.
Well, we know he's an Alan Wake fan because he puts Alan Wake as the puppet. So
yeah, it's right.
It's pretty funny.
And then the fist bump and end of the show as they like break the fourth wall and the drone goes out of the studio, and it goes out to Columbia Pictures and that whatever the name it is, Fizzint, and I'm like, that was the most like we've seen a lot of mic drop moments in regards to presentations and E3 moments and like, oh, but one more thing, and it's just a trailer of things, but this is the most wrestling like one more thing. The fact it just wasn't another trailer, it was like something even crazier, and it wasn't just like a celebrity coming out. Like I can't think of something like this before that's being like, oh, holy fuck.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he just does go like, since you like, especially like looking at Remedy and Alan Wake, what like if he, because they haven't really mastered they weren't super successful when they did Quantum Break and all these other things where they try and do like the full mix between like having a live action thing you can watch to pair with the game or something. I feel like that is like sort of Kojima's ultimate end game is to he releases a video game that's tied into a movie or TV series that he's also directed, that's tied into a clothing line he's releasing, and there's an official music album you can listen to at the same time on Apple Music and Spotify. Like I feel like he just has to have like just the ultimate drop of here I've released something into every single genre of art form I give a fuck about. All in one
Well,
go.
this is what he tweeted out. Fizzint, working title, will be the third new original IP since establishing Kojima Productions. Is a completely new action espionage for the next generation. It will be created using cutting-edge technology and the best talents from around the world, both from film and video games. Of course, it's an interactive game, in quotation marks, but the look, story, themes, casting, acting, fashion, sound, etc., all on the next level of digital entertainment that could be called, in quotation marks, a movie.
The most Kojima quote ever. And this is definitely going to be a PS6 game. I'm going to say.
I mean, yeah, unless he's spreading himself very thin between these 3 titles that he's working on. Yeah, it's going to be a while.
Well, the thing with OD, unless I'm wrong,
is he's phoning it in, right?
Well, he could be, but also he never said how involved he was in that. It could come out. Yeah. And then he's just producing it, and he wrote the story, but he's got someone else from Kojima Productions as the main director
doing it, and he's got all these other, whatever he called them, geniuses or whatever, collaborating with him. So
yeah, because there's no reason that couldn't be a thing.
Smaller thing.
It's Jordan Peele's Candyman, Hideo Kojima's OD. That's perfect collaboration. 2 people. Loving to put their names in front of things.
So it's a woman working on it.
It probably is. Well, crazy. Yeah, so obviously that was that last 15 minutes. I guess the Kojima section of the show was well worth watching everything beforehand, even if you didn't care too much about it. So can't wait to watch another 12 months of weird shit coming out of Kojima and getting excited about it. That's why I live
for. Keen to know what the soundtrack is as well. Like, what's the original score going to be? What's kind of like the licensed score going to be? A Church is going to be on there again. Like, what artists that weren't on there before, like Bring Me the Horizon?
Watch his Twitter account. You'll find out.
Yeah, just like scroll back who he's like been hanging out with, what celebs. I think he was with Paramore recently.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
and they already have done like the cover of Burning Down the House from Talking Heads.
So they're back. Maybe they're back, baby.
Yeah.
All right, that'll do it. I think, unless anyone else got something they've thought of about anything. No, Buddy shaking the head. Ash, no. Cool. No. All right, let's wrap her up, Buttercup. Thank you for joining us for this late episode of Platinum Explosion. Thank you, Buddy, for joining us. You got anything you want to plug?
Not really. Just over on Twitter at BuddyWatson12, and that's pretty much it.
Okay. You can check out all the other Explosion Network stuff, of course, explosionnetwork.com. Go listen to the rest of the podcast, read all the things over there if you would like, reviews, news, and all that sort of fun stuff. Follow twitch.tv/Explosion Network. At the moment, we're slowly playing through Baldur's Gate where my PC doesn't crash. That's fun. Fucking PCs, man. Imagine if it was playing on PS5. that day that we would have had such a day straight if it was playing on PS5. Just saying. Anyway, fuck you, Kieran. Thank you for listening, and we'll catch you next week. Goodbye.
See ya.